was a very poorly run business. So that's what allowed me to kind of make those steps quickly. What was the question?
What was the
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
I appreciate you for jumping on the Relentless Project and letting me come to the Erie Fitness Academy. Every time I'm in town, you always open the door, so I appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, this is DJ Myers, CEO and owner of Erie Fitness Academy. Interesting story enough. This used to be called 3 Ring Box. And the first time I came here, I was in the police academy, and they're like, they changed it up. We're going to go to this gym, and they're going to run you through a gauntlet of a workout. And I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. So we come here, and it's you. And we're like, okay, one guy. Oh, it's 2 guys. We won't mention the other one. And the fucking workout was brutal. Mm-hmm. And not only that, you had an obstacle course in the back. And I almost drowned because we had to swim through I guess I'd call it a pond.
It was a pond, I guess, yeah.
Well, that shit had seaweed that was just sucking souls down. But
that's kind of what I was told to do. That was what I was tasked with, was make you guys hate your life, feel like I was taking your souls from you. And there was other choice words said for my direction on what to do, and I took that very seriously. It's like,
well, that's 21? Good to know now.
21, and I'm like, there's like retired veterans and stuff going through the police academy, and I'm like, these guys are gonna fucking hate me.
Well, that makes sense though, because I'm like, how the hell do you go from just like, you were a trainer then, right? Obviously.
I wasn't even technically. Like, I was training people because my bosses didn't do things correctly. But, I mean, I was going to school for it and stuff, and I've done it for a while. So, you know, it's not that
What did
hard,
you go to school for?
Exercise science.
Exercise science. Okay. And that's more like the in-depth of how the body works through exercise?
Yeah. So, you know, your anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, you know, lots of biology classes.
Lots of ologies, man.
Yeah, lots of just learning how the body works, how exercise affects the body, how to, you know, use exercise to create different, I guess, reactions within the body. A lot of stuff that's kind of pointless for me now.
I wouldn't say pointless, because I mean,
I don't train anymore. It's got yeah.
But you've climbed the ladder pretty quickly. What got you into wanting to work on that? I know you did a lot of wrestling. Mm-hmm. Was that like a catalyst for you to learn why the body reacts the way it does, or is that something you always wanted to do?
I mean, I was always good at like science and math and that kind of stuff. I always enjoyed exercise and working out, you know, getting in the gym. I started lifting at 13. So, and then I had a wrestling coach who was awesome. My head coach, he would work out with us every morning, basically every day, during the summers, just to train for wrestling. And I enjoyed it. And I wanted to be a strength coach. For a college or professional team eventually. Owning a gym was kind of like end goal in my mind.
So that was something you had in your sights.
Yeah. So my thought process was, first I wanted to go for athletic training until I realized like what the job of athletic training is, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to be on that side of things. I want to, you know, help people increase their performance, help prevent injuries, things like that, kind of prevent people from seeing the athletic trainer. And I don't really want to spend my time in an athletic training room. You know, The gym's a lot more fun. But I decided to go to school for exercise science, and didn't really know where that was gonna take me. But I thought strength coach, and you know, eventually this kind of came as an opportunity. And you know, I started working here my freshman year of college, just like front desk cleaning person, and then I just slowly started to take over different responsibilities.
Now you own the fucking thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you wrestled, and I guess you stopped wrestling because of injury. That's what I kind of picked up on or read.
Yeah. So I guess going into my freshman year, I had a broken hand from punching something or someone. And
we won't disclose.
Yeah, faces are kind of hard. So I went into school to cast, started, you know, wrestling season. my hand wasn't, I think, healed correctly. It always hurt. It all,
Hands, feet, knees, joints, like that. Those are always the.
Yeah, it was tough. And like, I remember the first day of lifting after I got like my brace and stuff off. They were like, all right, we're doing front squats today. And I tried to do that. And I was like, holy shit, that fucking hurts. And then like, it just kept getting worse and worse. And they're like, yeah, I think you re-broke it. So I kind of just didn't really wrestle my freshman year even. So at that point I was like, screw this, I'm just going to party instead. I don't need to wrestle. And then I learned my sophomore year that I need wrestling to keep me in check.
That structure, the discipline.
Yeah, keep me from having as much free time. And something to continue working on, or else I'm just going to party every day. And then I wrestled again my junior year. That was okay. I mean, a year off, and wrestling in college is very different. Everyone in college is very good. It's much different than high school wrestling.
Yeah, it kind of weeds all the people just doing it for fun or not really into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids on teams that, aren't great, but you're not going to like run into those kids at tournaments typically. And then my senior year, the first tournament, I think it was partly because I cut so much weight that year. I got a very severe concussion. I think just because I was so dehydrated, it just made it worse. And then I had headaches every day for like 3 months. And then,
like, were those considered migraines? Because there's a difference between like migraine and headaches, right? Or is it?
I don't know. I have no idea. My head just hurt, and like everything was foggy. Short-term memory was not great. Paying attention, things like that. And I don't think it also helped. I was working here every day in a loud, bright gym. So I think that made it worse too. But yeah, that kind of, it wasn't getting better. And I was like, there's no point in me fucking up my head to wrestle a few matches. So basically that was the end of that. And
was that a tough decision for you? Because you've wrestled since you were like young, right? You were a kid.
Yeah, I was like 4 years old when I started.
A lot of people, that's like their life. And then when they don't have that anymore, they're like scrounging around like, what do I do now? Or was it an easy transition for you to like, hey, this chapter's over, now I gotta...
Yeah, it was pretty easy. I mean, when I was in high school, like my senior year, towards the end of the year, deciding on colleges and stuff, it was like, I'm not gonna go wrestle in college. And then after my season was over, I was like, all right, I'm wrestling in college. But by the time I was done wrestling my senior year of college, I already knew I was actually already running this. I took over like management, we'll call it. I tried to manage it my senior year. It was like September of my senior year of college. So I already knew what I was doing, and I knew that wrestling wasn't going to, I'm not going to wrestle further. I'm not going to the UFC. I'm not doing anything like that. So, I mean, at that point it was like, I wanted to spend my time here. I wanted to spend my energy and effort on this. So, it was pretty easy, and, I miss it sometimes. It's fun to roll around. It's fun to do that stuff. But, at that point it was like, all right, what's the next thing?
Yeah,
exactly. Like, I don't want to fuck my brain up for a few wrestling matches. Like, who cares?
Did wrestling help you like ease into this role, having that discipline, that structure, that discipline?
For sure.
What could you pull from wrestling that actually helped you in like the business side, not the physical side, but almost the business side?
I mean, business isn't easy. It's very, it gets to be grueling, and it takes patience, and that's exactly what wrestling takes. It takes lots of hard work. It takes, any task that I have to do is easy. Nothing is hard, like not inherently hard. Like some things take more skill and stuff like that, sales and, certain conversations, and, you have to build certain characteristics like leadership and things like that, and communication, which is difficult, but none of it's harder than anything I've ever done through wrestling. Like the workouts, the intensity, the everything. It's so much harder than anything you're going to do ever in your life, really, unless you go decide to take on other crazy, ambitions. If you're fighting or military or police, things like that, you're going to run into some hard shit. But for this, like, if I have to have a conversation, it's a conversation. It's not someone trying to beat my ass. Like,
yeah, well, unless you get that client.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe. But yeah, it makes things much easier when you think of the different perspective of like looking at the things that you used to do, the things you were capable of, the workouts you used to do, like it just changes the perspective of like nothing I do is hard and I can do any task in front of me.
They're simple tasks. They maybe seem daunting or hard, but it's simple. So long as you do what's required. And I think a lot of people lose sight and it becomes hard when they start looking at the end. Mm-hmm. Because when I first met you, and that's why I wanted you on here to talk about your journey of not only your journey of rising up, but building this up to what it is. Because this is night and day to what it was. Nothing against what it was and the people here before, but you'd be needed to say this isn't a completely different establishment, organization. 100%. But if you would have looked and came in like, I want this gym to be, and then describe it how it is today, back then, you'd have never got. It'd be like, how the heck do we get it there? Mm-hmm. But all these baby steps that you've done is what transitioned this. So first off, how did you go from a freshman, a kid, working essentially what people would consider like the dumb job, mm-hmm. The front desk, cleaning, like people don't really, when I want to work at a gym, it's personal trainer, it's coach. How did you go from that role to running the joint?
I mean, it was a shorter process than what it should have been because of my prior management / owners not doing the things that they were supposed to be doing and doing a lot of things that they shouldn't have been doing. But it's basically just doing like you said, whatever's needed, the next step, figuring that out. Going into my junior year, they started to talk about giving me a percentage, like a small percentage because of the amount of shit that I did. If things needed done, like they needed the grass mowed, they needed weed whacking done. Like I was literally going to my parents, loading that shit up in my 97 Jimmy and driving it down here, mowing, weed whacking, taking it home. Just whatever needed done, I started to do. And then that just, because my prior bosses weren't doing things, I would have to keep leveling up those responsibilities essentially. And those just kept stacking on top of each other. So now I'm not just cleaning and greeting people as they walk in. I'm cleaning, greeting people, and trying to get people to pay their bills. And then I'm coaching classes when my bosses aren't showing up for classes, or training people when they're not showing up to train these people. Like there's a very poorly run business. So that's what allowed me to kind of make those steps quickly. What was the question?
What was the question? Basically that, how were you able to climb? And it's interesting. This theme usually pops up on my podcast multiple times. It's doing the stuff that's like a lot of people don't want to do, or a lot of people overlook. Mm-hmm. It's beneath me. Yeah. This is what I want to be. This doesn't get me there. I don't want to basically entertain that. And you'll find most people who just go in with the right intentions, they end up being leaders from the back or from the middle. Mm-hmm. Jocko talks about this in all his books. Goggins, it's this, what is a leader, right? And we see a leader as the loudest person, usually running something, a boss, a manager, a supervisor, like they're seen as leaders. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes they're not leaders, and they're the ones who allow opportunities for leaders to be born, and then they end up getting surpassed. And there's always that like bitter taste in that person's mouth, because this kid as a freshman, how did he get all this? I run this place. Like, how is he getting all this? And it's because you did all this little things that most people wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, and like you said, the beneath me thing. Like, if I have to clean a toilet, I'm going to clean that toilet the best I possibly can. And that's something my dad always said, was like, do any task, do anything that you're doing as if you're signing your name at the bottom of that, whatever it is, for the world to see. Everyone's going to know you did that. So whether you're cleaning a bathroom or writing an exercise program or training a class, like that's your name on it. And what do you want your name to be? What do you want people to think of you based off of the effort you put into that job? Like, if something needs picked up, pick it up. Be proactive about things. That was something else. Like, it's like, always be proactive. Like, always do whatever you see that needs done. Why are your hands in your pockets? Why are your, idle hands, or the devil's hands, or whatever the saying is? Like, just do whatever's needed done and do that at your highest potential. And it's impossible to fail if you're doing that, because most people won't do that. So you kind of just stand out from the rest.
Well, and that's I talk about this all the time. It's so easy to get ahead nowadays because of how comfortable and lazy people have gotten. And it's crazy when people look at someone like you and they're like, wow, look at this place he's built. Or like, even I've talked to many people and then I get to talk to them and I'm just like, oh, you're doing the shit that just needs done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That just no one else decided to do. But it's crazy that that's become a thing now where, like, for example, you go to a bathroom and there's piss all over the toilet seat. There's a line out the door. You're like, that wasn't my piss. You pee, you leave. That next person that comes in, what are they going to think of you?
Yep.
Dude, pissed all over the toilet seat.
Yep.
Like, that's your name on it now because you were the last one to own it.
Yep.
When you could have just balled up until, did a little, and I know it's gross. People are probably like, that's fucking gross. But I'll do that. Like, I'll go to a place and like, I'll see something on the ground. I'll pick it up.
Yep.
Like, not to get me anywhere, but it's like, if this was my building and 15 people walked past that paper on the ground, I'm going to think about them. Like, why? Like,
why didn't you?
How hard
up?
was that? So it's that principle or that premise of just do what needs done.
Yep. And there's many times where I walk in the bathroom and it's like, yeah, cleaning the toilet isn't my job, but it needs done. So I'm just going to do it and clean it. And then I move on with my day and I don't think about it again. And it's like,
you mean you're not going to tell someone else to go in there and clean it?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to clean it. Like, unless I'm in the middle of something or whatever, but like, that's very rare. It takes 30 seconds to clean a whole toilet well.
That's funny. When I used to work for Golden Corral, our managers were like the kings of that. And then they would walk and they'd see something on the bar. They'd look at the bar. They'd walk across the restaurant to a server and say, "Hey, that needs cleaned."
Like, it took more effort to walk across the
like
fucking
why
bar.
just and the funny thing is they always carried a rag. Why? The perception of they're getting stuff done, but they're not. And I get it. There's a time and place where you have to delegate things, but the goal is to have a clean bar for the customers and the guests. That's the goal. That's everyone's mission, to provide a clean environment so people can enjoy and eat. Why not just
wipe
rag
it
real quick?
Takes 2 seconds. Yeah.
And because it's beneath them, beneath some people. And then we got a new manager. They reorganized everything. And you never heard from him. Everything was running smoothly, but you never heard from him. We'd have our meetings, and that's where you'd hear things like, hey, the bar is this. And in my mind, I'm like, I've never seen the bar dirty. And then I'd watch him, and I realized he's the one like picking up all the slack where people, and it made the restaurant run smoothly, and it made people go, oh, man, his name was Rich. I called him Dick. And his last name was Long. Hey, Dick Long. But I'd watch him, and it would make me want to be more proactive because I'm like, this dude is the manager, GM of this place. He's supposed to be in his office dealing with all the other stuff, and he's out here cleaning. He'll vacuum. If a server was behind, he'd take the cups. It'd make me want to be more proactive because you see that.
Yeah.
And that starts a chain reaction.
Yeah. I think like a leader's job is, or a manager, whatever you want to call it, their job is to make the people underneath them in that seniority level, make their job easier, make them enjoy that job more. What can I do to serve you, essentially, to help you grow, or like I said, make your job easier, or whatever it is. Like, how can I help you? And I think the more people think about that, better leaders they're going to be.
I think the word leaders, it confuses people because people think a leader's like someone up top. But a leader is someone who does exactly what you said. Doesn't matter what role they're in. Like, if I can make your job easier, whatever that job may be, whatever my job may be, if you had that same approach, and then that person had the same approach, and that person had the same approach, imagine how efficient an organization would be.
Way easier.
Or like, let's take it to like policing. The people think, I'm gonna get so much shit for this. People think cops are like, well, they either hate them and think they're clueless, or people think cops are end all be all, know everything. And it's crazy because I've never met a group of lazier people more ego-driven people than cops. And luckily, it's not my department, but I've trained with departments where I'm like, how, like, you do this for a living and that's your thought process? Mm-hmm. No wonder people hate us.
No longer protect and serve.
Yeah, like, no wonder people hate us. We get a call for a raccoon in the yard. Oh, what the fuck? Dude, that's stupid. I get it. It is stupid. Like, we're not animal control. We're not. But this person, this is their toughest time. This is the craziest thing that they've dealt with. A raccoon in the daytime. All you got to do is show up and the raccoon runs away. Took 5 minutes of your time.
Yep.
You're spending 30 minutes at the station talking shit about it. Just do it.
Yep,
just do what needs done.
And it makes your life easier because now you're not bringing that negativity in to bitch about it and, you know, take up that time and effort and energy. It's like, just go do it, get it done. It's done and over with, and then move on with your day.
Yeah, and you know, I'm one of the dudes, I love taking calls. A call comes in and it's close to me. Hey, I got it. There's people who like will drive the opposite way. They're like, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I'm too far now.
Yeah, and it's like, I strive in everything I do to like, I'm even with it, like even with here. Anytime I'm here, I'm like cleaning up weights, trying to, hey, do you need anything? Whatever. Like I was helping you with stuff behind the scenes, like graphics and stuff.
Created
like,
the logo of the business.
Yeah, it's like, because I see so much potential in this place, it's like, fuck, I want to see what you can do with this. And then obviously it took off. What caused you to rebrand?
Well, it was called 3 Ring Box, and what the fuck does that mean?
Isn't that like a CrossFit nomer or something?
Yeah, but they call it like CrossFit gyms boxes. I'm not sure where the 3 ring came from.
Strength, adversity, and fitness.
Yeah, they didn't ever have a good answer when I would ask, like, what is 3 Ring Box? You know, the best answer I was given was like, there's 3 owners. And that was pretty much it, which didn't make any sense to me. It didn't seem very well thought out. It was like they were drunk and made the decision.
They didn't market it. Or
yeah, they didn't.
They didn't attach the brand and they didn't put it all together.
Yeah, and it was a cool logo and stuff, but like, it was okay. Not as it was like a cool. It was like the three with the rings around it. It was kind of cool. Again, like I said, kind of pointless and didn't really tell you what this place was at all. Like I would get calls all the time, like, "You guys have boxing? You guys, you know, whatever." And it's like, no.
I guess I can see that.
Yeah, so we rebranded one because of that, and they didn't have a great reputation after everything that they did. You know, they were stealing money, they were canceling on clients, not showing up for clients. They were drinking here on the job. Like the one owner would walk around with a Solo cup, like literally drinking while she's training people. It was ridiculous. Like, I remember one morning, I didn't even know what a mimosa was at this time. I was like 19, sitting at the front desk. It's a Saturday morning. She's like, "Hey, do you want a mimosa?" I'm like, "Sure." She popped, like, I didn't even know what it was. She pops a bottle of champagne, starts pouring me. I'm like, "You sure?" She's like, "Yeah, no problem." And I'm sitting at the front desk like, this is cool. This is the coolest job ever. And then, like, thinking back, you're like, what the fuck was going on?
Well, now that you're on that end, you're like, why would I put someone in that position, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, that's tough. It's crazy. Everyone wants to own a business. The big thing now is owning a business. Freedom. Like, is it, though? Because if you're passionate about owning a business, it's because you want growth. It's because you want to bring people in and bring people up. Like, it's not a walk in the park. I mean, I've started many businesses and they have all failed. Every single one of them. Mainly because I lose focus or I lose passion So I can understand the drive and relentlessness, bing, 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 that it takes to see it through. You're in this position where you're essentially in a dumpster fire. You're watching it all happen. You're getting more responsibility. You're not really seeing much traction. What caused you to say, like, double down and go, no, this is what needs to be done?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, I saw the potential. Like, when I first walked into the place, I was like, holy shit, this place is cool. You know, at that point, I never belonged to any gym because I went from high school working out in the high school gym or in my parents' basement to working out at the college gym, and then I started working here. So it was like, holy shit, this place is cool. I had no real experience with any other gyms, and even after I have been to other gyms, it's still like very cool. So I saw the potential and I was going to school for it. And like I said earlier, like owning a gym was like the end goal. Like when I retire from strength coaching, I'll open up a gym, I'll train some people, blah, blah, blah. And when found out like my one boss was basically forced out because of certain reasons. And then the other boss said he was going to stay and help run the place.
We seen what that happened.
Yeah. So, and that didn't last. That was like a week later. The power was going to be shut off. I actually was the one that found the shut off notice. And so there was, like I said, 3 owners. There was the 2 that were running the place, or supposed to be running the place. And then there was one that was the investor, the financial guy, who's still a business partner now. And Scott's his name. And Scott, he called me, and because we received an email saying that, the one owner was leaving. So, now both managers were gone. Basically, we're shutting down. And Scott calls me. He's like, hey, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know, but I'll be there Monday
and
at 5
nothing.
a.m.
You're nothing at this point. You're
Nothing.
just staff.
Just front desk.
And he calls you. What are we about to do?
Yeah. So because I had been here and I'd put so much effort in, like I remember I'd be here like 20 hours a week off the clock, just doing shit that needed done just because I enjoyed being here. I had nothing else to do and I saw the potential. So then when we had that conversation, I was like, I immediately knew what potential opportunities would be in the future if I just stepped up and I did whatever was needed, because Scott's a great dude. He's way too generous.
I've met him. Awesome
He's super nice, super cool. And he had a shitload of money into this place and was basically fully taken advantage of. And that's entirely his fault because of that. But I also didn't want this guy to get fucked over and basically lose everything that he put into this. And I was like, I'm going to step up and I'm going to save this place. I'm going to make it what it could be, which I didn't even know what it could be. I just had like a monetary number of like, we're going to make $1 million a year. And like, I thought it was going to be so much faster. Like I thought it was going to be so much easier.
But think about it.
Exactly. 100%.
Think of the time.
100%. When you look at like, okay, what is the actual growth rate? They're bringing in like maybe $100,000 a year. And it's like, okay, I'm going to 10X this shit. You can't do that overnight. You can't do that in a year. Like people say that it can happen super fast, but like when you're providing a service and you have to rely on other individuals to provide that service to actually grow to that extent, it takes a lot longer than you think, because you have to find the right people. You have to train those people. You have to learn how to lead, learn how to communicate. You have to learn so many different skills and characteristics that it just is impossible to happen overnight. So
it's a lot of moving parts. So what is, I'd say you've done that. You've created this culture. There's a culture here. You can see it on the website. You can see it through social media. You can see it when you walk into this place. Like all the coaches, like you guys like hang out, you guys do teamwork stuff. Like what would you say the mission of Erie Fitness Academy is? What's the mission?
I mean, overall, as simple as terms, save lives, change and save lives. Our mission statement is to educate, elevate, and inspire others to live the highest potential life they can. And we do that through fitness, nutrition, and community. And if you look at, the different areas of the world that live the longest, those are the 3 things that are consistent across the board. What they do for physical activity changes, what they do for nutrition changes, and is, depending on the locations, is vastly different. And they all have some type of community, some type of bonding experiences. And, you need people, you need interaction with people, you need that good culture, that that great community that is going to help you with whatever problems you have, help you build those connections, which is needed, human nature. And that's just what we learned early on. Like those are the 3 things that matter. And realistically, like fitness and nutrition, you could do all kinds of different things. There's
so many schools of thoughts.
Yeah, like you can do it so many different ways, but those 3 things are consistent. So like as long as we have a good exercise program that matches our education and what our beliefs are in that, and same with nutrition, we make it something that's sustainable, enjoyable, and safe. The biggest thing is community, the culture, and we have a set of core values that we make decisions on in our, for our business, for our team, and we try to get our team to live out those same core values as well as promoting those to our members as well. And, when you live based off of a set of core values, it makes it very hard to fail as long as you actually live by those core values, and those core values are, positive. And that's kind of just where we've gone, and the focusing on charity and focusing on helping others and focusing on building relationships, it makes the biggest difference.
What have you found would be the best way to create that culture or to create that community? Because we see a lot of gyms, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, and they try hard to, I want to say try hard. They try, and it's usually in the form of like, pizza parties or like it's almost like an insult of like, because I've been a part of those organizations where I've given my everything, and then they're like, hey, like, good job, pizza on Friday. I'm like really? I mean, I'm getting paid to do it, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing, but you made an effort to come to me and tell me how great we're doing, and your show of that is a pizza party. Okay. Like, it's almost like an insult to me. Yeah. How have you created that sense of community? I know TFW was a huge boost in that because it's almost like a cult.
And they structure it for you too, which is cool. TFW, Training for Warriors, it was started by a guy named Martin Rooney, and he's taken that program actually has 9 core values, all from different languages, and they all fit with, because we have like our EFA core values. There's just 5 of those. They're all in English, but those 9 very heavily relate with those 5. So that program has its own thing that we give Warrior of the Month. We give core value award for core value awards for each of those core values at the end of the year. So like, we have a big dinner banquet that we actually host here in the gym.
That's sweet.
Which is sweet. And then we, recognize those that live out those core values and that are making awesome progress and are doing more outside of the community to help others. I think that's what it's about. And to answer your question, your initial question about that is like, one, living it, also promoting it, and then doing everything you can to force those and hold others accountable to living those core values. If a team member isn't living those core values, they don't last very long. And it sometimes sucks. It's always for the better when those people have to leave, whether they're fired or they just leave on their own. But it's for the betterment of the team that you're holding people accountable. And I think that's where people go, or corporations or whatever entities, groups go wrong, is like, they say this thing and they either don't live it themselves, whoever's in charge, or they don't hold people accountable to actually doing that. If you say something and you say there's this expectation, but people aren't following it and nothing happens, then what the fuck's the point of even saying it? And it means nothing,
Yeah, if you don't act on it. I think another huge part of that is acknowledging it, which you guys do.
Yep.
You guys have like employee awards. You guys have, a lot of events here where you're recognizing either a client or a team member, so I think that's a huge thing of acknowledgement, because for people, fitness is a huge step, and fitness is not something we see a lot of those fad diets in Hollywood, workouts and stuff. But fitness is one of those things you can't see a progression immediate. You don't see an immediate benefit. You don't see an immediate feedback, And I've mentioned this before. You look in the mirror, you go to the gym, you bust your ass, you look in the mirror, you look the exact same.
Yep.
You just hurt a lot more. And then the next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. You don't see the change. Yep. 6 months from now,
big difference.
And then you look back, it's a huge change. Or a year or 2 years, you see this, that you have changed, but throughout the process, you can't really see it.
Yep.
by someone outside, a coach or team member, acknowledging that. And I see you guys post the pictures with like the amount of weight they lost with
The fat blobs.
The fat blobs.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a huge visual representation of the work you've done.
Yep.
And that keeps people motivated, because discipline is built throughout time. Like this discipline's not something you can just, I'm going to be more disciplined. Boom. And then you're
It just takes practice.
yeah, it takes practice. And those key motivational, those motivational points, that's a huge one, is those fat blobs. They're looking at this, they're feeling the weight.
Like I've lost 12 of
Like
these.
you carried this and now you don't.
Yep.
I think that's huge.
Yeah. So like you said, acknowledging the stepping stones of that overall goal, like, you know, for our business, for people's individual weight loss goals, it's like, yeah, you have this lofty goal, you know, say it's 100 pounds of weight loss. Like if nothing is said about the progress until you hit that 100 pounds, like you're probably going to quit before that. But if I acknowledge 5 pounds down, 10 pounds down, 20 pounds down, 50 pounds down, like you keep getting that feedback. And it's not even just the weight loss. It's like acknowledging the other things, acknowledging even the fact that they have been consistent. Like it's not just like the result, it's the actions of that create the result. So it's like, you've come to the gym 3 times this week. Like you haven't been to the gym 3 times in your entire 50 years of life.
Yeah.
Like how crazy is that? And they're like, I feel good. I feel accomplished. I feel, you know, someone's acknowledging what I've done and the hard work I've put in. You know, you meal prepped for the first time in your entire life in 50 years. Like, good fucking job.
Or you lift this weight for 12 when you were only hitting 8 or 9. You're like, look, now you're hitting 12 reps this set.
Or you can get on and off the floor. Or like we have a lady, she started off at 655 pounds. Like she was able to leave her house. She actually came to our wedding in Cancun and like left the country. And
That's
hasn't even,
huge.
at that point, it was less than a year and a half. It was like a year and 3 months that she'd been working with us. And less than a year prior, she hadn't left her house in years. And then she's in fucking Mexico. And it's like, that's a whole different level of progress. And, you know, a starting point that, you know, you're way far off. But it's crazy to see what progress people can make when they actually just do the simple things over and over again.
When it's like, it's not even about fitness. It's about what you do for fitness. The more disciplined you are in fitness will translate to your life. Yep. You're more confident. You're more, you know, you're experiencing hard things in the gym in a controlled environment. When you face some sort of adversity in life, you're better equipped to manage it.
Yep.
Because, you know, this coach puts you through the ringer at the gym and now you're dealing with this and you're like, oh, this, like you said, it's not hard.
Yeah.
Like I can do this because of things I've done in the past. And I think the gym is a great place for that, because where else do you face constant resistance and adversity in life if you don't go to the gym, if you're not in the military, if you're not in sports? Like where else can you have that, you know? And we see a lot of like inner city youth. They're always dealing with adversity. That can go one of two ways. You break out of it and now you're very resilient, you're headstrong, or it consumes you.
Yep.
So, but we don't want to put everyone through the ringer. That's why military is huge for building character. For 3 to 6 months, you are put through the ringer.
Yep.
And you come out on top. The gym is like one of the easiest places you can control to do that.
Yep. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be that hard. Like it doesn't have to. You don't have to feel like you're dying. You don't have to feel, you know, any of that type of feeling. You just have to do a little bit more than you did before, and it's like that starting point. You know, for Megan, the lady that, you know, started 655 working out in her house, it wasn't like, let's see how much you can squat or, you know, anything
let's
like
run
that.
2
Or
miles.
let's run a bunch. Like, let's stand up for 1 minute and then sit back down. We're going to wait a couple minutes. Then you're going to stand up again.
She wouldn't even stand.
Yeah. Like
Now she's like
yeah,
bouncing
she's all
around
over
this
the
place.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, it just takes doing that little bit in the beginning and then just slowly making those, you know, steps forward. Like I remember she was in a recliner. She used to only be able to sleep in a recliner. She could not sleep in a bed. She was doing shoulder press with nothing in her hands for sets of 10, like just to raise
Lifting
your
her
hands up 10 times. And then like that was difficult. And it's like, now we just do a little bit more and a little bit more. And it's like, she was in a lot of pain, don't get me wrong, but like it wasn't inherently hard. And that's, that goes for everyone. Like, we start you at level 0 and slowly build you up to the point where now you can handle some hard shit.
It's daunting though, because you come into a gym and you see people like Brandon or people like Goss, they're on a whole different level. And then I'm coming in at level 0.
Yep.
So it's what advice do you give the people teetering between like, man, I'm scared to go, especially a gym like this, because you got a lot of people.
Intimidating.
Yeah, it's intimidating. It's the people who come here tend to be like go-getters. They're getting after it, as opposed to other gyms that I won't mention, but which serves their purpose.
Do
Serves
whatever
their
you need to
purpose.
do. Yeah, whatever works for you.
What advice would you give someone to make the decision to walk through the door and start that fitness journey?
Yeah, I mean, just walk through the fucking door. Like, you have to do your research and find what's going to fit your needs. It has to be convenient enough for you, or be good enough that it doesn't need to be convenient. We have people that drive from Corey, which is 40 minutes away. We have people that drive from like near the Peak, 40 minutes away. Northeast, 30 minutes away. Warren, like over an hour away.
That's far,
like,
yeah.
People drive very far to come here because it's worth it. But for someone just starting, like, find that thing that's going to fit whatever needs you have. If you only have a short amount of time, like, find the thing as close as possible, or do it in your house. But do something. Just start with the basics. Start eating a little bit better. Drink one less pop in the day. Eat one less donut. During the week. Like,
What's the donut comment for? You looked at me when you said that.
I didn't even think of that, but now that lay off the donuts.
This is my show.
I understand you're a cop, so you probably eat a lot of donuts.
I actually don't. I've never been into donuts. I like, but no, it's so true. It's walk through the door.
Yeah.
And
just ask questions. Like, you're not walking in the door doesn't tie you to anything. Like, it doesn't. You don't have to do anything by walking through that door. All you do is walk in, tell them, the person should ask you what your goals are, what your needs are, learn a bit about you, if you're going somewhere that is actually probably going to help you. So they get to know what you need, and then we can provide recommendations on what the best, options are, whether it's, our facility, another facility. And that's what when I talk to people, it's like, after I figure out what your goals are, where you're at, and where you want to go, I'm going to make the best recommendation for you, not for me. Cause like, at this point, I don't need you to sign up. I don't need one more person just to have one more person. Like, if this fits your needs and you're going to be a good fit for our community and we're going to be a good fit for you, then cool, let's do it. But, just walking in the door, ask some questions, make sure that you get a good sense of the vibe, I guess, that they're giving to you, that you feel, and that the environment gives, and, what they say. And if they're just talking about everything that they can do, it's probably not the best option. They should be speaking 10% of the time and just answering your questions or asking questions, to get to know you. And if that's the case, then take step 1, just start taking baby steps. Like, it's not that hard.
A lot of gyms, I've been to a lot of gyms, and this is probably one of my favorite, not just because you're on the podcast, but it's just the vibe, the whole warehouse. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's like you want to work out, you want to better yourself. Everyone seems to be super nice, super cool. I think this has been the only time I've come to Erie and not worked out. That's because it's my mama's birthday. So, but it's a great facility. And other gyms I've been to, they see me walk through the door, and the first thing they offer, and it's like, I'll go day passes or, drop-in fees or whatever, and they want to sell me a membership.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, can I
Here
try
for the day.
Yeah, can I try? Well, not even that. Like, can I try it?
Uh-huh.
Like, can I walk around first? Like, yeah, you can try it. And then they're following me, talking about everything they offer. And I'm like, I just need to try it.
Yeah.
But they're so quick and that pushes me away.
Yep.
That pushes me away. Like, it almost seems like you're desperate for a client.
Uh-huh.
So
I've been there.
Why? And I get it. There's a time and place, but I'm talking about commercial gyms.
Yeah.
Like, they're just out for numbers, and it's like, don't really. That's why, like.
And I think that starts on the top. It starts on the leadership level of, like, what
what they're being tasked with. You know, we've had coaches come on board and they think that that's how it's supposed to be. And it's like, no, let them talk. And if it's what they need, offer it. If it's not, do not try to sell that person. Like, do not. And you know, I go through some like sales training with every new coach. And, you know, that's part of it is like, if this is not what they need, if this is not the best fit for them, do not sell them on it. I don't need your membership. We don't need your money. We're going to be just fine without it. And we're going to find the people that need what we have and the people that we want to have, you know, a part of our community. There's a lot of people out there. So like, I think when like our coaches have like sales goals, but it's not like a quota where if they don't hit it, they get punished. It's like, hey, if you hit this number, which we slowly have been progressing that number up, then you get a bonus. You know, you get more commission because you made more sales. Like, it's a
goal. It's a line to reach.
Yeah.
It's like here we are. Like, it's almost incentivizing them to go out and push themselves more. And I guess that's like a gray area with goals, because there are companies that punitize or punish if that goal isn't met.
I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. They're looking at the punishment too. And, you know, it goes with like parents also. Like, it's just always so quick to give a consequence or negative consequence for doing something wrong or not doing what is expected. And instead, like, reward the good things, and then more of the good things will happen instead of like constantly punishing. You know, there's times for punishment. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you see it all every day. But you know, it's like, there's no need to yell at someone or fire someone just because they didn't hit this goal. It's like, well, let's figure out how we can move this up and propel you forward to then hit this goal next time. And I think that's where a lot, you know, it's just forced of numbers, entirely numbers.
Or diagnosing why you didn't hit this goal.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it. I think communication is one of the arts that has been like brushed to the side.
It's not talked about.
Nothing is talked about anymore.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with someone else where people leave reviews immediately. It's like, did you talk to them first? Especially, where do we see this a lot? In restaurants. You go to a restaurant for the first time, they didn't cook the steak how you wanted it or something. You know, you leave, you pay your bill, you leave. Social media to rip them apart. And it's like, did you bother talking to your server?
Yep. Or
like,
the manager.
Or the manager
anyone?
or someone. Like, did you give them that avenue, that opportunity to make amends or fix? Because that's how companies get better.
Yeah.
Hey, I walked into this gym and I felt like no one came up to me. No one greeted me. I felt out of place. Oh, we apologize. We're actually going through a transition right now. We don't have the coaches. You know, how about I give you a 2-day pass so you can come in and see how we really are.
Yeah.
And then that offers you an opportunity.
Anything. Yeah.
That offers you an opportunity to talk with your coaches and be like, hey, like, this is something that came up. Let's make sure we're greeting people. Let's make people feel welcome, especially if they're not guests here. Like, we want everyone to feel like this is a place for them. So you're able to move that line up in your organization, but companies can't do that unless we, as the consumer, are having good faith and good communication.
Yeah. And I mean, I've even had people leave reviews that have never been here or even spoke to anyone here, and it's like,
because their friends were here.
Yeah, or something like that, or like, I don't know if they're tied to someone else that, you know, might not like us for whatever reason, or we, you know, I've had to ask members to leave because they were causing problems and they were, you know, cancer essentially to our community, bringing other people down. And it's like, because I asked this person to leave, their friend is leaving a poor review, or like, they're too expensive, 1 star. It's like, you haven't even tried it. Just because we're more expensive or the most expensive in town doesn't mean it's not worth it. Like, you're not leaving a review for Lamborghini because you can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. It's too expensive. Okay, so it's not for you.
Exactly.
Like, why is that bad? It's just not for you.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a whole community of people here it's for.
Yep.
Now, if you're going there and you're like, they're charging me for a class and the coach never shows up. Okay.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Leave a bad review.
That's a bad review.
Yeah.
But like, they're too expensive. I love that at restaurants too. You go to a Michelin star restaurant, one of the highest rated restaurants, and you're complaining that it's too expensive.
Yeah, like, no shit.
Yeah.
You knew that.
Going in. Or if you didn't ask the right questions. You didn't do your research.
Yeah.
Like, if you see a white cover on a table, Ask questions.
Yeah.
Or see the menu before. Can you think of one challenge that had you like, it was a difficult challenge transitioning from 3-ring to Erie Fitness? What was one roadblock that you hit and then how'd you get past that?
Change. Change is very hard for people. There was moving from CrossFit, people who do CrossFit are usually very into it. Usually, as you stated earlier, like cult-like. Our group TFW is also now like that.
I would say in a good way. They're just like,
they're
they're ride or dies.
Yeah, no, 100%. They have our backs, no matter what. And so getting some of those people to understand like why we're making those changes, what those changes are going to do for their, performance and results. Like, yeah, we're not doing these high intensity, constantly varied movements every day. Like you're following an actual program that's designed to create this result. You're not just showing up and doing random shit. So that was part of it. Me being 21 when I took over managing it, like
that's
people
huge.
look down on that. And it's like, well, this kid, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like, well, actually, like I've been doing this for a while. I've gone to school for this. I have done a decent amount of research through working here of like what should be done, what's the best, way to approach certain things. I think just people dealing with change is difficult. So like that caused commotion, raising prices.
Ooh,
yeah, that's a big one.
The whole raising the prices thing. It's
yeah. So we started out at $18.51 was like our normal price. There were some people paying $9.99 because I don't know what reason they decided to do this like a lifetime $9.99 a month membership. But it's like, how many people do you need to actually make money for that to work? Like this isn't Planet Fitness. So, we bumped it up to $24.99 and then it was $34.99 and then we added 24-hour access and that just bumped up to $39.99 and then we bumped up to $49.99 and then $59.99. Now we're at $69.99 a month for just a regular 24-hour access membership. So like we've almost 3x'd or we've more than 3x'd the starting point of where we were at and like changing those prices, learning how business actually works. Like when people have to pay more money, it's like, yeah, but you have to pay more. But if you want this to even be here to utilize, we have to charge more.
We have to be sustainable.
Yeah, we have to charge more. If you want things to be added, you want locker rooms, you want whatever, you want more space, more equipment. Like we have to make money. We have to be able to also provide for ourselves. At that point, I was paying myself like $400 a paycheck. So I was getting like $800 a month and I was making it work. And it was just what was needed. And so we quickly realized, we did some coaching programs, things like that. I've gone through a lot of, further education after college. And you'll start to learn how it actually works. And it's like, I have to make these changes because if I don't, it's not going to be here. I'm going to have a worse life because of it. My coaches will have a worse life because of it. They're not going to be able to pay their bills. I'm not going to be able to pay payroll. Like all these different things. We can't grow. We can't make additions. We can't, add locker room, sauna, equipment, further expansions, like things like that. Like none of that can happen if we don't charge what we need to charge to make this business work. And, people are very stingy and, want to hold their money, which I get, but it's worth it. It's like, if you're paying even $70 a month, like it's really not a lot.
It's like you're paying $70 a month for a local gym.
Yeah, and for your health, for your life, for if you have to drop $70 on dinner all day long, no problem.
That's what I was gonna say. It's crazy how we as people prioritize certain things, right? Like $70 a month, $70 for 30 days for me to go to the gym anytime I want.
Yep.
A gym that it's not just a gym. You have a bunch of different things you offer here. However, I can go to the bar tonight and drop $80 in a day.
Yep. And you get nothing out of it.
And you poison yourself.
Yep.
We're cool with that.
Yep.
But $70 a month for access to the gym whenever. If you can't sleep at 3 a.m., you wake up, you can go to the gym. 4 o'clock, whatever, whenever you want. It just blows my mind. The things some people prioritize.
Yeah.
It's like you will prioritize going out, which if you know me, I do enjoy my tequila. I like to go out and socialize. But I also know like my priority is fitness. Like that is my priority. I enjoy it. It enjoys me because we have this good relationship.
Yep.
So it's like start to think if you're having that conversation with yourself, oh man, like even if it's not 70, 40, 30, whatever, what's more important to you? Your health or this other thing you're spending money on?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know people who love to buy bourbon. They will wait in line for hours for a bourbon drop. I don't even understand what that means because I thought you can just go into the liquor store and apparently there's like certain bourbons you can't do that. They'll spend over ticket amount for a bourbon that they'll just have, not even drink, just to have in case.
Yeah.
But you don't have an hour to go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. And my first like higher paying client that I remember selling, we were talking, when you start to get into personal training numbers, it gets expensive. And like at the time, I had minimal money, like living paycheck to paycheck, not knowing if I'm going to make payroll or pay bills, and I remember saying the cost, and I like started to basically explain like, how important it is. And he's like, and why it's worth it. And he's like, no, I get it. I paid $900 some for my car a month. It's like, oh, okay. Like we don't need to continue having this conversation. Sign here. And it's like, people are so willing to do that. $500 a month for a car payment, it's nothing. But it's like, that's going to break down. You're going to put more money into it. It's just getting you from A to B, the same thing a $200 a month car can do. It just makes you feel good because it's nicer and,
it's leather.
Yeah, cool.
Some cars have AC seats.
Yeah, shit's nice. I was just telling Megan today. I was like, we need a AC seats because I'm sweating.
I didn't know that. I'm like, I got heated seats. I thought that was like premium, but now you can cool it.
Yeah,
that's what I need.
You pay a lot for it, but yeah, people don't value their health and the vehicle of their body, vehicle for life, as much as they do other things. Game systems, TVs, whatever. If your TV breaks, you're going dropping $500 or $300 to $1,000 that day. You're not even questioning it. But
the TV will last me 10 years. It's like,
how long is your body gonna last?
Yeah, what is that doing for you though? Yeah. And there's a lot of schools of thought on health and fitness now, and surrounding diets and exercises and intermittent fasting and creatine, all this stuff. And it's you found like there's people in their 70s who walk around like they're 40, 30. There's people who are in better shape now in their 40s and 50s than they were in their 20s and 30s. And you start to diagnose that and talk to them, and it's like they're moving around, they're working out, they're outside, they're not staying
doing the basic shit.
Yeah, you're like, all the stuff I should be doing now, but we overlook it at our 20s and 30s. It's crazy. You talked about group fitness and personal fitness. What is the difference of approach as a coach? Because did you coach group classes?
Yeah.
So I know you did ours, but what is the difference of approach for like personal training and like training a group of people who maybe they have similar goals, but they're all different? Like how tough is it to? I mean, because each have their challenges. What are the challenges of both?
Yeah, I mean, group, it's just makes it much harder because now you have 20 people to keep eyes on instead of one. So, you have to be very vigilant as far as like watching everything and learn to take a step back and almost look from like a bird's eye view of the whole class and start to pick things out. And then you make those touch points and fix whatever the problem is, fix the movement, move on to the next person. It's much higher pace, I guess, is from the coaching side of things because you have to be constantly moving. You have to be constantly aware of what's going on. Anything can happen in a group class if you're not paying attention. Anything can happen if you are paying attention. Shit happens, and you got to try to avoid that and the energy you have to bring to get a group of 20 people, especially if it's like 5 a.m. You show up at 5 a.m. You got 20 people in your class that don't really want to be there, but they know they need to. And, they're tired. They want to be in bed. They're just woke up. And and it's still fucking dark out. It's like, okay, I got to figure out how to motivate myself to motivate those people. And someone, I think it was like an intern we had one time, they said, you know, you have to act as a thermostat instead of a thermometer. So you have to set that temperature. You have to set that tone. You can't just
I like
be whatever
that.
the tone is. Like, you can't just show that. It's like, no, I'm setting the temperature in this place and we're getting fucking after it. So that's tough, you know. At 4:30 in the morning, we show up to open the gym. It's like, fuck, I'm tired. But these people don't care if you're tired. They came here to get whatever show or experience from you, and it's your job to do that. So, like, no matter what you're dealing with, you have to, you know, you have to bring it.
Be the
thermostat, not a thermometer.
Dude, that like everything with life.
Yeah.
Set the tone.
Set the tone.
Don't let it set you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if someone comes in half-assed and you feed off that, you're gonna be set the tone.
I'm gonna bring their temperature up. Yeah.
Dude, I'm stealing that.
It's good. Go for it. I stole it, so
That's fucking fire, no pun intended. What about the approach to training? Because do you train to like I don't want to say the bottom line, but with a personal training, it's personal. You know their goals. You know where they want to be. You know their body. You've asked these questions. You know the process that's required to get them from A to B.
Yeah.
With a group, there's a lot of different goals, a lot of different tones, a lot of different, like, how do you approach training for a group?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to the outside of just the classes. You know, the classes, they elicit some type of result. They elicit some type of response from the body. But really, everything that changes happens because of what you do outside of the gym. So you have to get people to change their actions and their habits outside of here, which is difficult. You know, and that takes systemized communication and reach outs and tracking and all that stuff to, you know, be able to see quickly, you know, out of this 150 people or 200 people in our group program, who's not getting what they need, who's not making the progress that they should be, and who's not doing the things they need to do, and being able to pick those things out, which took time to figure out.
That's an art itself.
Yeah, it took time to figure out, like, how do we track all these things? How do we gather these metrics to be able to know and see what's going on? And then eventually it gets delegated out, which that's where it's at now. Like, all coaches have a list of people that they do that same thing with, but it's tough. You know, you gotta get people to change outside of here, which is the most difficult part. You know, compared to personal training, you get longer to have those conversations back and forth, to learn them more, to build more of a relationship. So I think that becomes easier to get them to make those changes, and they're paying a lot more. So no matter what, whenever you pay more for something, you're going to be more accountable, because money is, you know, a driving motivator for most people, if not everyone, to some extent. You know, even the crackhead needs money, you know. It's everything, you know.
Speaking of crackheads, it's funny because that's not funny. But no, I was going to say about priorities. Usually when people think of crackheads, they think no money, usually homeless, but somehow they can always find the money for crack.
Yep.
Or whatever your vice is. Let's make it a little more general so I don't get slaughtered.
Beer.
But yeah, but like follow what I'm going with this. We need money for X. You know, we need money for everything, for a roof over our head, for a car, for fitness, for a diet. You know, I can't meal prep. It's too expensive. How expensive is eating out? You manage to make that happen.
Yeah.
Or door dashing, or like, that's expensive.
Or even the aftermath of it.
Yeah,
Gets expensive.
Gets expensive. Hospital bills, you know, all the doctor's visits. Somehow we always find the money for our vices. Like, if we had, they're creative on how the ways, if we had that approach to something good, finding a way to make that happen, imagine how different your life would be.
Yep.
Whatever vice you're dealing with, you know, alcoholism, drugs, fucking porn. Porn's a huge addiction people don't like to talk about. These are vices that you find a way to dabble. How about you just try to switch your mindset?
Yep, switch your focus.
Switch your focus. And I think that's why personal training is it holds you accountable, because you're paying more.
Uh-huh.
But then you come in here and all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
You have someone telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So long as you're open and honest, it's going to work, because now they're going to tell you what to do outside of, hey, this is the stuff you want to avoid. This is the stuff you want to do. This is when you should be sleeping. This is how much water you should be. Like, everything's being outlined. Your life is being outlined for you. Yeah, you're paying more, but you essentially have a mentor for life.
Yep.
Because now you're in the gym. You're not talking about fitness. You're talking about
Time management.
Something that happened, and how, oh, this is how I deal with that. Yep. This is how you essentially have a life coach.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated? What's a way that keeps you motivated that allows you to like trickle that down to your employees, to your customers, to everyone who is a part of Erie Fitness Academy? Because I think you mentioned it earlier, it's important. It's from top down. If you don't have that trickling from top down, an organization folds in.
Yep.
Like, how do you stay motivated to keep everyone else motivated?
Our team is a big motivator. You know, and no, you're not always motivated. So I think it's like knowing your why, knowing your reason for doing it, and understanding the importance of that. So like when I was at the point where I didn't know if I could pay my rent or pay bills or, you know, pay payroll, it's like, that's a really shitty feeling. And I knew that I never wanted to be in that position ever again. And I also don't want my team to feel like that. Like, if a team member is worried about paying their bills and all that stuff, like, I need to do more for them, because I know that feeling. It fucking sucks. It's hard and stressful. And then it's also going to make them not be able to do their job and focus on becoming better if they're worried about this other shit. So that's one thing, is like, if I don't do what I need to do, it affects not only me, but it affects the team. And if it affects the team, it affects every single person that's in this community. And you know, if I don't do the things that I need to do, they won't do the things they need to do. And then it's just a trickling effect that is negative. And so that's one thing, is like looking back at where I came from and knowing that I don't ever want to be there personally, and I don't ever want my team to feel that way. Which it's hard. You know, personal training is a hard job, a hard career. You know, sometimes long hours. It takes time to build a clientele, which we've made easier for people just through our reputation and our brand and our marketing and all of that. But it's not easy, no matter what. You know, it's hard. You have to deal with other people's problems all day long. So being able to just make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make their job easier, so they don't have to feel like that. And just having the discipline. It's like, no, I'm not motivated to work out every day. No, I'm not motivated to make my sales calls. No, I'm not motivated to reach out to people or create systems and processes within our business to grow. But I know that it's going to pay off in the future. I know what like our mission is. And if that mission is important, it doesn't matter how much I want to do it or not. I just have to do it. It's like, you know, cutting weight for wrestling. If you don't make weight, you do not wrestle. So if I'm 0.1 over or 0.01, or, you know, it's usually just by 0.1, I guess.
So 0.1's pretty strict.
Yeah.
0.01's pretty strict.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the scale they're using. But like, if you're overweight at all, you don't make weight, and there's no one else that can do it for you. So it's like, no matter what, you have to do this work if you want this opportunity. So I know if I want the opportunity to grow and the opportunity to provide for the team and grow each individual on our team and help more people in our community and expand our business, I have to do this. Like, there's no question about it. So I guess it changes from motivation to discipline, that you just do whatever the fuck you have to do.
So there's that school of thought of motivation versus discipline. And I understand, and people like shit on, you don't need motivation. It's like, yeah, but
Like,
we're not.
motivation's the starting point.
Yeah, we're not all talking to Jockos and Goggins and people like you and me who have developed the discipline and now realize it's not motivation, it's discipline. We're talking to people who need that motivation to develop the discipline. We're talking to people who need to build the discipline.
Yeah.
And that is fostered on motivation, getting them to walk through the door. Why? Knowing your why.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part. Establishing your why. It has to be a clear and consistent why, because if you don't have a clear and consistent why, it's going to change. Yeah. It
has to be important.
Yeah. Like, if your why is to get abs.
Yeah. Probably not going to happen.
It's like, why though? But why do you want abs? And Gio, I think, hit on this beautifully. in a presentation that I saw it on social media. He posted, it's like, well, I want to look good. That's not your why.
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to look good? Oh, now we're diving into like mental health philosophy and mental. You want more confidence. You want to be, it's that confidence. It's that like you don't want to just look good. You want to look good because you want to be confident when you walk in a room. Yeah. You want to trust
you want to be
yourself.
Confident because you're anxious every time you walk into a room and you can't talk to people, and it just goes deeper and deeper
and deeper. Yeah, there's so many layers. So like establishing that why of like, okay, this is actually why I want to start my fitness journey. I have health problems that are causing me to think a certain way about myself. And this is all because I am overweight, which is because this, which is because this, which is because this. So I want to look good. It's like, yeah, I know you want to look good, but your why is
way deeper
than that. And finding that, if you can establish that, the gym is going to be the easiest thing you do.
Yep.
Because the hardest thing is going to be that why.
Yep.
And sticking to
Figuring
that line.
that out. Yeah, making sure it's important enough, and it actually means something, and the motivation is the beginning. The motivations are advertising, our social media, our results. When people see that, it becomes motivating to them. It's like, oh, this person lost 200 pounds. I can do that. This person, is now able to play with their grandkids. I can do that. They see the success stories and they see us talking about what they need to do and trying to motivate and inspire them to do those things and take action. And then our job is to build the discipline. Our job is to essentially build habits and hold you accountable to those habits to build that discipline. And there's still times of motivation, more specifically, like when you're actually in that workout, we're motivating you to work a little harder, of course, but like, we're not motivating you to show up to the gym. We've just developed a system within your life and kind of programmed you to build that discipline. And then once we work on that and we teach you that process, we teach you that system, teach you the things that you need to do consistently, now it's our job to just hold you accountable to that. And again, sometimes there's some motivation in there, but it's like, no, we just need you to do these simple things over and over again. The motivation kind of dissipates and just becomes discipline at that point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ups and downs in this fitness journey. And I know you guys talk about like really not looking at the scale, but looking at how you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror, all that stuff. And it's true. If you're building that discipline on your valleys, you're going to stick to what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to stick. You start seeing a six-pack come in, you're like, yeah, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
But it's when you feel tired, you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like I'll just eat a bowl of cereal because it's quicker than making eggs or oatmeal or whatever. Like, if you're just going to start building that discipline, you start cutting out all the shortcuts.
Yeah.
And your valleys don't seem so low. And your peaks, like your valleys and your peaks start to like kind of appear closer. So it keeps you on that path.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, when people are feeling down and they have to, or they do the thing that they know they need to do, it makes them feel good. Cause like people are motivated, or they feel good with progress, and they feel fulfilled with progress and wins. So it's like, if I get myself to do this thing, I get to check that off the box. Now I get that feel good. Now it's like, okay, now I'm not having a bad day. I worked out. I did what I needed to do. I can do whatever next step. So it's like teaching people to just show up. Just show up and you're going to feel better. And then they learn that. It's like, okay, I feel like shit now. I just need to show up and everything's going to be okay. And the more we teach that and kind of get people to realize that and understand it, the easier it is for them.
I heard a quote that said, no one's ever regretted a good workout.
Yeah.
Or a workout in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, I wake up at 4 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. There's times when I'm leaning on the side of my bed and I'm like, I'll sleep in today because rest is good. I need rest. Rest is good. Yeah. I'm tired. And then I'm like, I can't believe I'm thinking like that. Yeah. I'm just going to go. And as soon as you walk through those doors, but that's the thing.
Totally different.
Small wins, right? I woke up to my alarm. I didn't snooze it. That's a win. I got dressed for the gym. That's a win. I walked through the door. That's a win. I put on my headphones and found the playlist. That's a win. I'm under the bench now. That's a win. People look at me. They're like, how do you bench 435? But how much time you got. Because it's not about putting weight on. It's about these small wins and the discipline and, you know, putting 10 pounds on for months at a time, years at a time. Like, and then that happens. But people see the end result and they're like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Well, now you have to backtrack and back plan.
Yeah, create those steps that you need to hit going backwards.
So what's next for Erie Fitness Academy? What can people expect? I know you guys are always looking to improve, change, grow. Is there anything down the pipeline? Anything you guys have planned?
Yeah. So as of recent, the focus has been growing the team, which we've done. And we're at a point where, you know, we have a big team. We have like 13 or 14 coaches right now. You know, starting off with 2. It's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we got that, you know, everyone's filling up their clientele. You know, most of our coaches have full rosters and can't take on any more. So we've, as of January, we got it up and rolling, our online training program. So now we can train people remote anywhere in the world. And that, you know, just allows us to make a bigger impact than just this local community. So we're just slowly kind of building that reach out, you know, through our advertisements outside of our typical radius that we advertise to. So just trying to grow that to, like I said, make a bigger impact on people outside of our community, and then also be able to provide more for our coaches and provide a less time for money and more like, if you get good and efficient at online training, you can make a shitload of money with not that much time and still provide a lot of results and help to someone. So we've been working on that, which it's growing, and we want to make sure it's slow so we're not taking on more than our coaches can handle, you know, because they are busy in the gym. So working on that. And then the big project is adding the expansion onto our facility. We just met with our architect for the last time yesterday to finalize our like pre-construction plans.
It's about to be sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
I got to see the plans.
It's fucking cool. It's scary for sure.
Oh,
you know, we were talking numbers with the architect, and they were just giving us like, you know, rough
preliminary
guesses.
numbers.
Yeah,
like it's never
it's
that.
like,
it's always.
And I could, like, while we were talking, I could feel my heart rate elevating as I was talking to them about like how much it's gonna cost, and I was like, I'm freaking out before we're even starting anything. Like, you know, it's a lot, and like it's scary, and it's like just the plans, the pre-plans was $10,000. It's like, okay, well, I have to write a check for $10,000 to get, you know, some imaginary, you know,
a drawing
plans of what can happen. Yeah.
That's art. That's Picasso. You paid for a Picasso.
Yeah.
10 grand.
Exactly. And it's like, that is scary to sign that contract to commit to. And then whatever the next steps are, it's like, it's a lot. But yeah, that's going to be sweet. We're going to move all our classes into that space. It'll be 2 levels. So we'll have a full wrestling room and stuff, so we can get into wrestling, jiu-jitsu, some boxing, things like that.
Jiu-jitsu, yes.
Yeah,
I'm a big proponent of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think it'll be very cool. It's very exciting. It's, you know, a long project, a very expensive project, but it's definitely very doable. I've, you know, figured out the numbers as far as like what we need to do, and it's definitely doable. It's going to take work, of course.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Like, I have no doubt it can be done, but it is, I can understand why it's scary. You're committing to something you don't know.
Yeah. It's like, here's $2 million in debt. Like, fuck.
But you've climbed out.
Yeah.
I climbed out
of someone else's debt here.
Yeah.
You know,
that's exciting. No, that's exciting. If the stars align, like, when is that project anticipated to finish? Like, when can people?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how long that type of construction takes place. Yeah, it's a long process. I mean, even just the equipment. I got the equipment quote. You know, we're looking at $150,000 in just equipment to outfit it and stuff, and at least. And that's a 4-month wait time for even just once we order the equipment. You just wait, and you know, I think that's part of what my job has become, is figuring out how to be patient and how to figure out what to do in the meantime. You know, figuring out how to fill my time without fucking things up that are going on, that are doing well. It's like, keep the shit running, keep improving it a little bit,
at a time as we go, which we're always working on refining our processes. We meet every 2 weeks and just work on different processes to refine, provide a better service. How can we make sure that we do more for our clientele? How do we make it more efficient? Things like that. And so yeah, it's just like allow the machine to run itself. But I am not the one that's doing the work every single day with the training and stuff. So like I've way more free time than I'm used to. So it's like I just have to make sure I don't fuck things up.
No, I mean, I think you've built a well-oiled machine, and it's in our nature once you've built something, you've made something, to want to like hold on and keep it there. But sometimes we have to step back and see, kind of pressure check, see if what we've built is sustainable without me.
Yep.
Because if it is, you've built a good thing. A lot of times people find their worth in what they've built, so they have to stay attached to it.
Yep.
It's like, you need me to make this run. Well, that's not the right process. That's not the right mindset.
Yeah, then you're stuck in it.
Yeah. Like, you want to build something that is sustainable and runs itself.
Yep. And I want to build the individuals that are doing the job to be leaders and be able to do it without me. Kind of the first test of that was 2 summers ago. I went to Romania for 2 weeks. And for me to spend 2 days out of this place was like absurd. But 2 weeks I was gone and like nothing. Actually, someone was hired and fired in that 2 weeks, and I didn't have to handle any of it. And it's like, okay, we have something here. It's
First, you're like, wait, why? Like, were you like, did you find yourself wanting to like get in the mix, or were you like, you know what? No, I'm going to step back.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, but I already knew at that point, like, I have to let the people that are tasked with certain things and in different roles to handle their roles. And if I step in and I do it for them,
you undermine their role.
I undermine their role. I take away the responsibility that I gave to them. I'm letting them know that I don't trust them to handle it. And, it doesn't help you develop as a leader. Something as simple as like running a class, like, figure it out. You can do this. Like, and I did that with my wife. She was coaching a class and she showed up and it's 5 a.m., 4:30 in the morning, whatever. And the way the class was set up, the way the workout was set up didn't make sense for flow within the facility. Like the way equipment's set up, the way things are arranged. And she was like freaking out. And it was like not that hard of a thing. Like just change up the exercises. It was like a circuit style class. Like, change them up. But she immediately went like brain dead, kind of freak out mode. Like, I don't know what to do. And yeah, I could have just simply told her, but I said, figure it out.
You empowered her.
Yeah, I just said, figure it out. She figured it out, did it. Never has had a problem ever again.
And what's the better feeling? You stepping in, doing it for her, and then the class goes smooth, or her figuring it out, realizing the class went smooth, and then it all works out? Like, which one is better?
That one's way better. Yeah.
You get a sense of empowerment of like, I can do this shit. Like, this is for me.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Where can people follow if they want more information, if they're looking to kind of connect with your fitness academy and you guys? Like, where can people get a hold of you at?
Yeah, we post a lot on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Just Erie Fitness Academy. We post a shitload of content, a lot of educational stuff, a lot of motivational stuff. We're constantly trying to improve that. We actually just met last week to figure out what the next steps are for that. How do we make that better? One thing, showcasing our coaches, showcasing the people that they are, that kind of stuff. So expect to see some more of that, some more education and more value that we're going to put out there. But yeah, just Erie Fitness Academy on basically all platforms. We try to post a lot, and we try to make sure it's valuable and someone can take it and use it, or at least be motivated by it.
Your content has gotten like insane. It's insane. I don't know what you're doing. I'll dissect it some other time. But
I film a lot. I act as a videographer now.
Oh, that's you doing it.
So Nick films, and then Nick films with our coaches. At least once a month. He films me weekly. Just like while I'm working out, he works out with me most of the time, and just we film some shots in between. And then I spend at least twice a month with each of our coaches, and I just film them. I upload it to our editor, and they edit it and handle it from there. But yeah, I I've taken a step back to a videographer.
Yeah, look, hey,
It's whatever's needed. Whatever,
and that's the thing.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about being a leader. It's you step in the gaps and you fill the gaps wherever they may be,
Yep.
and then your job is to eventually replace yourself with someone to those gaps, which is probably that made so much sense. Like,
no, it's 100%. It's what's needed. You know, you fill into classes that need coach. You fill in for clients that need trained, and then you fill those things in with people that can just do the job, and then you just keep doing that progressively. You know, eventually, I handle most of the sales, but I've taught our team how to sell. I've taught them the process of that. I push them to do it. So now, one, I'm not doing all the sales. I'm not bringing in all the new money. But also, they're learning that skill to be able to take that and sell anything in the future. If you can sell fitness, you can sell anything. And they also make more money.
money makes the world go around, right? That's what they say. Well, any final thoughts? If someone listening to this is like, man, I've always thought about starting a gym or being an entrepreneur of some sorts, and they're hesitant on, man, this is tough or this is hard. Like, any final thoughts on getting someone started to just not even a business, but pursue something they truly want to? Because owning a gym, running a gym was your goal from the beginning.
Yep.
You didn't approach it the conventional way. Here you are. What advice would you give to someone looking to take a step to their goal, their career, and they're just like on that hesitant?
Yeah, first, accept that it's going to be fucking hard. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to give up lots of times. You know, been there. Like, I can't fucking do this. You know, lots of people told me I couldn't do this. So accept that it's going to be really hard, and no matter what, don't quit. But constantly be looking to grow yourself and the individuals that are around you. And if you do that and approach it with that goal in your mind, you can't fail, because you're going to constantly improve. You're going to constantly have the people improving around you and building up. Like, it's really hard to fail unless you decide to take actions that are unethical or immoral or illegal. You know, those things can mess you up pretty quickly. But as long as you stay away from all that and living by a set of core values is helpful as well. Finding core values that resonate with you, but also push you to be better all the time and, you know, essentially hold you accountable. But yeah, accepting that it's going to be hard, never stop growing, and finding a set of core values that you can resonate with that will keep you moving in the right direction.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and remaining persistent in your approach, because you're gonna experience roadblocks and quote unquote failures. Mm-hmm. It's only a failure if you don't learn from it, if you don't, change what needs to be changed and continue. Like, that's when it becomes a failure. So
yeah, and everything can be figured out. You know, we dealt with COVID. We made money through COVID.
Yeah.
Like, we were shut down for 3 months and we made money. Like, how? Because we figured it the fuck out. Like, we just did whatever the next right thing was, and it works out if you do that.
Here you heard it, folks. It works out if you do that. Well, I appreciate you for jumping on the Relentless project, bro.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hell, we've had to catch up, and this is the perfect way to catch up. So This is the one with DJ Myers with Erie Fitness Academy.
Thank you,
Later.
sir.
Of course.